All right, in this session, we're going to talk about how to add a part into point of rental. So the first thing we do under the program menu here, we click on File Maintenance. Add in your local password and then your main password. Only division managers and service managers should be adding items into Pointer Rental. If you're locked out of Pointer Rental on this portion, then you cannot add parts into Pointer Rental. We are trying to limit the number of people that can add items into Pointer Rental so we can alleviate the duplicates and keep a tighter inventory number on our parts. All right, under item file, has the whole list here. I'm in the Minnesota branch, and so in Minnesota is where it defaults to. We're going to go to the bottom left-hand corner, and we're going to add an item. This is just for a part. In the key, which is usually our serial number, we're going to put the part number. We want to use the actual part number of the part so we can easily find it from multiple vendors if need be. You only get 10 digits. So we're going to add in a -1 to the end of each one of our parts, so it populates it into every one of our locations. So that's 2 of the numbers that we can only use. So you're basically going to have an 8-digit number here. So we're going to call this, say the part number is 8, and I'm going to put a -1. So when you are in store 1, and in order to add a part, I want everybody to be in the Minnesota location when they do this. By putting that -1 after it, when we're done creating this item, it will ask us if we want to replicate this in all the other locations. And if we want it in one store, we're going to want it in all of our stores. And so we're going to say yes to that. If it's good enough to have it and we're going to probably order it again, then we want to put it into Pointer Rental as an item. If we're just getting a little bit of wire or something and it's a one-time purchase, we could put it in as a non-inventoried item. But if we have a part that has a part number to it, or we have an item that has a serial number, they should all be in the system. So we could choose that for our repairs and inventory them accordingly. So there's our key number. We're going to copy this number and we're going to paste it under the part number as well. Okay, this is, you have a longer number down here. So if this is actually 15 digits, you can go ahead and make this 15. You can shorten the one up here to be just the 8 that you need. We do not put the -1 after that. Item name. Use the item name that comes from the invoice or comes from the vendor of what they call it so that we can easily identify this when we're ordering it as well. So I'm just going to call this a high limit switch, and it goes up to 250 degrees. Okay, got a good description in there. I've got the proper letters capitalized so it looks as professional as possible. And then under the description is where we put what it fits into. Extremely important to know what this works for. We're going to say this works for our HR 500, comma, HR 1100, and that's it. Okay, so then when we're doing a search, we can go ahead and look for high limits, and there may be 30 in the system. We'll say, oh, yep, this is the one that goes for the HR 500 and the HR 1100. Very easy to order. Quantity is going to be 0 because we haven't ordered any. The 3 items we're going to pick over here on the right-hand side. First starts with our type. This type is going to be a sales and normal. Okay, so every part we put in falls under sales and normal. Category, all the categories for parts start with the word parts. And we got all the air conditioners fall under parts air conditioners, so those are kind of a catch-all. Desiccants fall under parts desiccants. But then you start breaking down by vendors: parts LB White, parts Heat Wagon, parts Frostfighter. We said these are HR, so we're going to call these parts Flagro. And this is good. It's got store 1. That will change when you multiply by all the other locations. We're going to go ahead and put a price into for the item. The basics for our items, because we don't sell a lot of them, mostly for our own knowing of it, is the sale price is basically just double the price. It was $5, let's put $10 here, okay, as a sale price. Pretty standard in the industry to have a 100% markup on parts. So we did that. If the part is over $300, then go ahead and put on a 35% margin. To do that, just take the $300, divide it by 0.65, and that will come up with the actual margin. So over $300, do the margin. Anything under $300, go ahead and just double the price and put it under the sale price. We don't have any things that need to be printed or any notes for these items on here. So we're going to go to the next tab, which is the Purchases tab. And we're going to put whatever price we were quoted as our last purchase price. And we were quoted $5 because that's why it's $10 for sale. So next time you go and order this, it's going to populate and say, oh, this part should be $5. And they come back and say, yep, it's $5. You know it's accurate. Or it went to $5.55. All right, we'll add that, order that at $5.55. And you'll get a list here under purchases of all the times you've purchased this part number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and the price. So we've got our purchase in there for $5. And then we want to put a little bit of vendor information here. So under the Asset tab, we want to pick a vendor. Like, I don't remember what vendor this is. You have three options. Number 1 is the first vendor. So maybe we get it locally through Johnstone for $5. But if I order from Flagro, it's $7. So let's go ahead and just take a look at that. So I'm going to click on the No Vendor Selected. Double click on it, and it'll say Johnstone. All right, here's a bunch of Johnstones. Yep, Johnstone, Minnesota is my number 1. It says, is this the one you want? All right. And for number 2, double click on this. I'm going to put it as Flagro. There it is. Flagro. So now we've got the number 1 place to get it from, the number 2 place to get it from. And that's really all you're going to have to do at this point to add in a part. Options down the road, if you want to put a reorder minimum, say I want to have a minimum of 2 here, and I want to have a maximum of 10, so I don't sit on 95 of these when I really don't need that many. Go ahead and do that. All these items are bulk items, so we can click on bulk item as well, but it really doesn't matter. We're just going to keep this as little clicks as possible. When we're done here, we're going to go ahead and say OK. And it's going to come up with a couple statements. Do you want to add a new item record to each store's inventory? This is why we do it in store 1, Minnesota. It's the only way it works when you have the -1. We say yes. It's then going to go ahead and populate that. So now, wherever I am, if I click on all my stores, and I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's my part number. There it is. I've got it in all, right now, 6 of our locations. We've got how many owned, 0. We got the different places it's located. We've got the -1 through 6. We've got the description, the long description, what it fits into, and we're good to go to do a purchase order. Very simple way to do it. Those are the mandatory items that you need to put into it if you are going to add a part into Point of Rental. Thank you for your time.